So you brought up moving averages, you brought up patterns, and you and I were talking a little bit about indicators, and we wanted to offer people who may not be in the level 3 crew, may not be familiar with you as much, or maybe people who just don't know what these lines are. You talk a lot about 50-day, 200-day moving averages, and I wanted to get your feedback on, what are the most important indicators for you, and how do you use them as far as your trading is concerned?
Yeah, so for me, I've done it all. I've been trading for long enough to try to use all the indicators that I can, and I've done all the beginner newbie stuff with using MACDs and all that stuff, and
MACD's nuts.
Having spaghetti all over my screen, and realizing that less is more. And it really doesn't have to be that complicated. And I really kind of break it down for the most part. Every once in a while, I'll throw an indicator in there that I don't usually use. But for the most part, I keep it down to 3 simple indicators. And you can really make it 2. It's the simple moving average and the RSI. If we take a look at SPY, this is a perfect example of this. I use the 50-day moving average. It's represented by this yellow line here. And then the 200-day moving average is represented by the purple line. And a lot of institutional investors, the big money, the smart money, if you will, use these as well. And so it can kind of really help you and give you an edge if you're a retail trader, because if you look at these and say, okay, if the big money, if the institutions are using these indicators, then I should probably be able to do that as well. Because if the way that this works is that if you have big money that sees a break below like a 50-day moving average, there's a pretty distinct likelihood that this may continue to come down. If big money is going to sell it below this line, you can imagine what it's going to look like for you. So if you think that the moving average or the price of the stock is going to move down below that moving average, then you probably want to be out before the big money starts to sell off as well. So that's definitely a good indicator. We've seen how the SPY, this is the S&P 500 ETF, has actually followed along this 50-day moving average very well. You could see a couple of days where it dipped down below that, but for the most part, it hugs right along that line. Anytime it corrects, we always watch for this 50-day moving average, and I think that's a really good indicator. Another way to kind of see the proof of concept in the 200-day moving average, we could look at something like the OIH. This is actually something that I'm invested in right now, and if Webull gets their act together, here we go. So we can see that this has actually tested the 200-day moving average quite well. Right now, it's sitting right at it here today as we speak, so we'll see how that plays out today. But that is another moving average that you can use, and those are the 2 that I use pretty much every day when I'm looking for potential buy and sell, buying and selling opportunities.
And then how do you work into the RSI?
So RSI is going to be something that I use to determine oversold and overbought situations. You can also use this as a divergence. So if the stock is up higher and the RSI is giving you the opposite reaction, then you could more than likely determine when something's going to top or bottom before it actually makes the turn. So RSI can be, a lot of people equate it to oversold and overbought, and that's what it's most commonly used for, but you can use it for those divergences as well.
So, and RSI is relative strength index.
Yes.
So when you say divergent, like can you give us an example of that?
Yeah. So I didn't have one
not necessarily a stock, but just like a theoretical example of it.
So if a stock is going up and it's continuing to climb and the RSI is coming down.
So it's going up, but how is it in relation to the 50-day and 200-day? Does it matter or no? I
don't really use them in conjunction like that. I'm looking at it as, okay, I use the 50-day and 200 days more of areas of support and of resistance.
Okay.
And then I'm looking at RSI to see how if it's coming down to the 200-day, does it look like it's oversold, and kind of use it in that way. And I also want to stress, like, these indicators aren't the fail safes, right? They're not like end all be all. You shouldn't use these as gospel. They're tools to help you make a decision, not necessarily to make the decision for you. Yeah,
I think that's a good point. And using any indicator or whatever your strategy is, there are so many factors that determine whether a stock moves, and you're just using sort of an educated guess based on information you've used in the past, but the past isn't necessarily going to predict the future.
Right.
It's no different. It's almost something to use to put things on the watch list. And the watch list, contrary to popular belief, is not a buy list.
Yeah.
And so if something is either near a moving average or if something is looking oversold, it doesn't mean that it's going to play out like you think it's going to play out. It's just, hey, let's keep an eye on it. And one of the things that we try to do with our trading is, all right, this should raise a flag for us. All right, let's sort of keep an eye on it, put it on the watch list. But then we got to wait for confirmation. We got to wait to see if that plays out. Still be smart, not fall in love with the idea that, hey, if it's oversold, it's going to go up now. No, it can still go down further.
Yeah.
But I love these, and you actually got me really into the moving averages, and you guys can put different time frames. So 50 and 200 days, what you choose, you can actually do whatever time frame. I know 10 days is a lot of people talk about in the Own the Chaos Discord. Shout out to the Own the Chaos Discord. You guys want to join? Click the join button. But yeah, there's different ways you can do it, but like I like it because it is kind of simple and it doesn't complicate things. It's just, okay, it alerts me and then I could sort of do my due diligence from there.
Yeah.
I like that stuff. Guys, what indicators do you use? Throw them in the comments. Let us know what you use, why you like it. And who knows, maybe you're going to convince Brad and compel him and he'll start using it on the live streams.
It'll have to be a really good reason.
Bro, perfect timing.